There is this pure awareness that's not dualistic. There's a hearing of sound. There's an awareness of thoughts. There's awareness of the world. But this awareness is not dualistic. Therefore, the awareness itself does not and cannot comment. It's clean. And that is exactly what's happening right now. Right now. That's what's happening. That pure, unadulterated, non-dualistic, non-conceptual awareness. Anything other than that is just going to be the mind going, me, mine, my. Poor, me. It's got nothing to do with you. Zero. Imagine a camera, Lindy, a video camera, out recording all sorts of tragic things, perhaps stuff that's going on in Afghanistan right now, or I don't know, some fire that's, blazing out of control somewhere and people's houses are being burnt down and so on. Is the camera affected by any of that? Does it say anything? Does it give a shit? Now, imagine a camera that is now focused on the mind. And the mind is going, whatever it's doing. We all know, yeah. Seeing personal experience of inner world. Imagine a camera that's focused on all of that. That's the awareness. The problem is, until we see it, we believe I am the camera and this camera feels as well. It's bullshit. It's just the mind that the camera is aware of saying that. So I sometimes say, like seeing, that's a camera, let's say, non-dualistic. Seeing, what's it saying about anything? What's the seeing saying? Hey, Terry, have a look at this. And then Terry somehow catches up with the seeing and goes, oh, yeah. That's not what happens, is it? There's just an immediate assumption. It's me seeing, or I am the camera. Yeah. Yet it's the camera that's constantly spotting the me. The me is not the camera.
So it's almost like the me is a filter that comes after the lens in a way. So the camera's looking out, and when it's very close, the filter is sort of almost stuck to the lens of the camera.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like, you know.
Yes. That's why sometimes, sorry, Lindy, go on.
And, you know, sometimes there's a bit more space than others between the camera and the filter, but we don't realise that we're the filter, or there's not.
The reality is we don't realise anything. And you're right, it can be so close. Yeah. And it can seem so personal and so that we end up wearing it like a skin. That's how close it is. That's what creates the seeming embodiment. Seeming embodiment. Yeah. It's so important to see it. How can it possibly be me that's aware of me? How is that? How many me's are there? Me that's aware of me?
It feels like there's lots of different personalities inside almost. It does feel like there are lots of me's. It's sort of, there's a me that takes on a, there's that me and this me and that me.
Good. Now, does that make sense? Any sense at all? How many yous are there, Lindy? Seriously.
I don't know.
Right now, I see one. I bet everybody else in here would say the same. I see one. One. Now, what is it that says otherwise? That's all. Mind. That's all. I shouldn't even be pointing to the head. You know that, right? Mind. Where the hell is mind? Is there even one?
I think the problem also is the talking about it. You know, again, this duality. You know, it's the me, the me and the I, or the true self and the false self. You know, well, that's very useful to talk about it like that. Then you can get so hung up on that, that then becomes the problem.
Correct. That's exactly right. We can end up, if we're not careful, we can end up painting ourselves into a corner with this. I shouldn't even say if we're not careful. Sometimes that's just how it has to be, how it has to go. Kind of paint our way into a corner. It's like, God, I know, but I don't know. I know I'm not the mind. I know there's no me here. I've tested it. I know there's no such thing as free will. I've tested it. There's no such thing as time. I know. Yet me still feels like it's here. Now all you got to do is tackle that. That's it. Now just tackle that. What the hell's going on with me still feels like it's here? See, now you're out of the content of the mind now when you're inquiring about just that. Me still feels like it's here. What's going on with that? Investigate that. Instead of just kind of being hung up on watching the mind all day long. At some point, it's got to dawn on you, mind is just happening. When that's realized, you don't need to put the attention there anymore. You totally don't. Now bring it back to, what's this sense of meing that I'm experiencing? What's that?
Yeah, I mean, I know that, you know, I mean, I know this experientially. I know this. You know, I have experienced a very big distance with the mind being out here and just chuntering on, and just a quiet mind in or around this mind-body experience. And I can remember it. I can almost, if I try to imagine it, almost make myself re-experiencing it. You know, I mean, I don't make a habit of that, but occasionally I do out of desperation to actually, you know, feel that space again. But it's just like it's sort of come back in and done that. So it's like, I know it's a dangerous thing. I know this, but, you know, I sort of do know that. I have experience, so I know it's right.
Yeah.
But I'm buggered if I can get back to it. I mean, I'm not particularly trying, but it would be lovely if it happened. Do you see what I mean?
I totally see what you mean, and that was a mistake that I made for many years. It's a mistake, Lindy. Yeah.
What's a mistake?
Wanting to re-experience. That's the mistake. Yeah. And why do we want to re-experience? Because that's the only, like, that's the what's the word I'm looking for there? The reference point. How do you know it's not going to be 1,000 times better than that, Lindy? And we want to keep going back to that experience. Why? Well, because it's a lot better than this one. The mind will say. I'm not saying you, right? But the mind, it's just the story the mind makes up. I want to get back to that because that was great. Yeah, you'd be ripping yourself. You are ripping yourself off. Don't fall for that one.
I'm not sure that I am completely. I think what I think about that is that was just an experience that I had of seeing things differently, and maybe parts of that were just in order to sort of keep me looking. It was almost like just a taster. I mean, it wasn't particularly wonderful. I mean, it was very nice. It wasn't wonderful. It wasn't particularly big, but it was very, very different. And yet everything was still the same. So at some level, I know that everything that's being talked about and said in satsangs, you know, I think this is what keeps me here, because as well as just knowing it's true in here, that the individual seems to have had an experience of at least a taste of some of it, you know. So I'm not continually trying to get back, but when I really can't get this, you know, I just can't, it doesn't happen often, but just occasionally I sort of go back to it and think, so what wasn't I missing then that I'm missing now?
I'll tell you what it is. The idea that an individual experienced that. You said it. Or rather, thoughts just came up as thoughts. There's not an individual there, Lindy. There's not one there. There's literally not one there. And if there's a sense that there is, then you need to check out this sense and see now if this is true. I think by now, you're 95% convinced that whatever the mind is saying is not true. Yeah. Yet there'll be this persistent thought when we get to this point. When you get to this point. But it feels like I'm here. It feels. That's one of the senses. Feels like I'm here. Now that needs to be checked out. And that isn't in the mind, is it? Is it? Can the mind feel? Can the mind sense? You know that answer, yeah? This beingness, our whole life It's been called me. Now, you need to investigate and find out if it is the me. Because this is where you end up, Lindy. Right here. This is where you end up. Lo and behold, holy shit. You mean, like, this is it here? Yeah. Now the me feels like it's here, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. Now it's not a matter of what the me thinks or what the me believes or the me's background or its history or its wants, its desire. That's finished. Hopefully, that's finished. Now, what's going on with this sense of me here? What the hell's that? See how pointy it gets? Yeah. There is your inquiry. Stop being interested in the mind. Shit, a prick. Like, really. I mean, I can say stop, but stop when it stops. 2. The answer's not there. The answer's not in the mind. The answer's not in thoughts. Do not expect thoughts to deliver the correct answer for you. They won't. What's this that I've called me my whole life? It's a being. Now, is this being actually me? There's your inquiry. That's all you need to look at, Lindy. Nothing else. Right there. Unless you want to get stuck in the mind again. All the stories that, Jesus, it's never ending. Oh, wish I didn't behave that way. It's just stories. If you're wrong, if this sense of being is not the me, what's this? Now, that kind of jaw-dropping curiosity, what's this, won't happen until you absolutely can see that this being is not the meing. When that's fully seen, now, Lindy, it's pointy. Now you're just looking at one little dot as opposed to trillions of them. And when I say trillions of thoughts and it's so busy in there, right? Now it's just, boom. What the hell is this? What's going on right here? Because this is where I seem to experience me. It's experiential. Now find out if this is indeed for me. That's all you got to look at. That's it. That's it. Look there. See how direct it gets now? Yeah. It's like awareness or consciousness or attention becomes laser focused all of a sudden. That's why I call it pointy, sharp.